Throughout history, women have been at the forefront of change. They have challenged norms, broken barriers, and paved the way for a more equal world. This is the story of resilience, determination, and empowerment for a gender that deserves a chance at governance. Women have fought against systemic oppression for centuries. From the suffrage movement to modern-day leadership in politics and business, their journey has been one of courage and perseverance.
Growing up, I wanted to be a strong voice in the society, and I saw myself gravitating towards law. I think law was my first love, and has always been. So I got into it, and I just wanted to do litigation. But somehow along the line, I discovered I found myself in the judiciary, and I said, okay, let me pursue a position in the bench. So far, I've been in the lower bench. It has always been this inner feeling of wanting to be a voice. There were challenges I faced. First, in a male-dominated environment, for you to be reckoned with as a woman, you must have a strong voice, and you must know your onions. You must prove yourself. And when I started out, in my environment, the legal environment, I didn't see myself as an inferior person. I never saw myself as that. I always felt that if the men could do it, I too could. And moreover, in my profession, there's no female in the profession. Everyone is seen as a male. Interestingly, I've worked with some very outstanding male colleagues, and the first two that I had worked with, no, three. In fact, my first boss, when I was appointed into the lower bench, he taught me all I knew about courtroom, idiosyncrasies. He was good at it, and I learned. Incidentally, he's my immediate boss today. Outstanding relationship, perfect. I'm still in, good relationship with them until one particular one. That one gave me a tough time. He had this attitude towards me. He would come late and won't tell me he was going to be late. He would travel. He won't call me to tell me. If I was doing stupid things, I would call it, I'm sorry to use the word, but he was doing funny at a point. The thing got to a head, and I was going to report him, So at the end of the day, he was posted out. But one of the last sittings we had, he told me he would want to admit to me that I'm a very thorough person. And he said some things that I can't remember now, but it's like he wanted me to actually, explode. But I thank God for the wisdom of friends that prevailed on me. I said, no, please. And I took to their advice, and I decided to, stay cool and just watch insubordination and, attitude to work that he was bringing. And I said, it should be because I was a woman. And I reckon that if it was a man in that position, he wouldn't do that. Because his body language was always showing it. And then no matter how late he was, he will not come to my office, because ordinarily other judges will converge at the presiding judge's office. Then you just take your briefing, maybe organize your sitting for the day, and then you march in when it was time for court. He would not. I would have to send somebody to him and said, we are ready. Then he will take his time. We will be standing just at the point of filing into court. Then you just come, good morning. And I felt, of course, I was a woman. I felt, yes, it was because I was a woman, he was behaving that way. The sacrifices I made was that I made myself available. When I started this work, I remembered that the others were seniors before me. They had been on the job. I was new. But I threw myself into that job. I would volunteer to write rulings. I would volunteer to write judgments, even though I had not written them before, even though we had been trained before starting the job, but it was not the same as having done them. I didn't know I was training myself in the process. I was taking on, I would prepare my children for school. I was at their school programs. I hardly missed their school programs. I wanted to be there for them. I will go pick them up. I will still write my judgments. I will bring my files home. Sometimes I will work on files till early hours of the morning. I didn't know my security man noticed recently. He told me, yes, he knew I used to be awake till late. Sometimes I'll sit up. I need to deliver rulings the following morning. I will sit up till 2 a.m. I'll just say, okay, let me just catch some sleep. Wake up early, prepare my child for school, my last child for school, and then I will head out and make it to court at 9 to sit. So those were some of the sacrifices we made, because you must give yourself a focus. You know where you are going to. There are some sacrifices that need to be made. Success does not come easy. I'm a strong supporter of women anywhere, girls. And there are ways I've used my position. Sometimes when I'm in court, I know those who are juniors, from maybe the way they are acting. I know they are new to this thing, and I tell myself that I was once like them. So I go gentle on them. Sometimes there was a particular day, she came in wearing large earrings. It's not allowed, because it's not a fit and proper part of your dressing. And I think her hair, if it were other judges, you will tell the person, you tell the lawyer, I can't see you, because she wasn't properly dressed. But I waited until she concluded her matter, because I didn't want to ruffle her, and I didn't want her to be unsettled. I knew she looked like a young person, So when she finished, I said, counsel, there's something wrong with your dressing. So I used my position, and then when in this kind of position where you talk to people, they listen. Even my staff, I have over 40 staff under me. Once in a while, I hold meetings with them. And I remember sometime last year, I held a meeting with them, and I was encouraging them. I said, some of you see yourselves just at this level, but there is life beyond here. Some of you can still do something, learn a skill, go to school if you can. And I was generally, encouraging them. At the end of that meeting, 2 women who were old enough to give birth to me, but they are my staff and under me, they walked into my office. They said they were so encouraged by what I told them. I'm biased towards women. Even in the marketplace, when I go, I encourage women. I say, what can you do beside this? How can you improve your business? Just like we have federal character policy that encourages maybe organizations or parastatals to be equal when it's recruiting into the federal civil service, as in balance in geopolitical zones. The government could also make policies that would include maybe a certain number of women. I believe that. And then they make education for women easily accessible. They can bring up programs that maybe is just sponsored for women, scholarships for women, so that women can prove their worth. If they are deserving of these scholarships, they pursue them. Some of these policies will encourage more women to come out, and that way we have more qualified women that will fill in spaces when the vacancies are available. I always tell women, no one can give you the value you do not give yourself. So first, you must value yourself. And don't think you're inferior to anybody. Okay? And it's not a case of competition between the men. No. It's not even that. The men have their place. But I think women must prove their worth. Know your onions. So that when people are judging you, they are not judging you based on the fact that she's a woman, she cannot do this. They judge you based on the fact that this woman knows what she's talking about. Like currently we have a female Chief Justice of Nigeria. This is the second time. We also have a female President of the Court of Appeal. They are record breaking. So a lot of women have broken the glass ceiling, and a lot more can. So if you need to go to school, go to school, but be better and be good at what you do. I want to leave a legacy of hope. The coming generation, I want to be able to look back in time and see that I've encouraged somebody to have hope. Hope in the fact that they can be anything they want to be, and that there's nothing that can limit them except themselves, especially the young ones. And I don't hesitate. Any young lady I meet, sometimes I give them my life story. Growing up, not knowing where you were headed, but somehow you find yourself, making meaning of life, growing up out of life, making meaning out of life, growing up and following your passion and seeing that it actually pays to stay focused. I want to look back and see that a lot of people learned from it and they made something better out of their lives. It will give me no greater joy than to see people inspired by my story and my journey.